You take it from Peter today, Paul will take it from you tomorrow, mama. Sweet, sweet, living is sweet, oh, where the rich or poor. Why not pray for a long fellow? He can pray for a long life. As long as they live, you know, the better we grow. Fine, power, you find out. It can make you heavy. It's just like a volcano, it's way to capsize. Sweet, sweet kiss our liver. No for go alone. Human being can eat it, or a creature can eat it. Kiss our liver, kiss our liver, oh, sweet kiss our liver. No for go alone. Take it from Peter today, oh, Paul will take it from you tomorrow, mama. You take it from Mary today, oh, mother will take it from you tomorrow. Fine, oh, by your fine, may in your favor. But people do to you, you dare to cry. Go alone, yeah. Sweet, sweet kiss our liver. Now go along. You take it from Peter today, Paul will take it from you tomorrow, mama. Sweet, sweet, living is sweet, oh, where the rich or poor. Why not pray for a long fellow? He can pray for a long life. As long as they live, you know, the better we grow. Fine, power, you find out. It can make you heavy. It's just like a volcano, it's way to capsize. Sweet, sweet kiss our liver. No for go alone. Human being can eat it, or a creature can eat it. Kiss our liver, oh, sweet kiss our liver. Now for go along. You take it from Peter today, oh, Paul will take it from you tomorrow, mama. You take it from Mary today, oh, mother will take it from you tomorrow. Fine, oh, by your fine, may in your favor. But people do to you, you dare to cry. Has enough for one person, oh, it's a matter of time. Our time is a lesson, yeah, brother, this I had. Sweet kiss our liver, now for go alone, mama. Human being can eat it, oh, the deer can eat it. Go our liver. Our liver, now for go alone. Human beings can eat it, or a creature eat it too. Sweet, sweet, living is sweet, oh, where the rich or poor. Why not pray for a long fellow? He can pray for a long life. As long as they living, the better we grow. pray today, oh, miracle will take it from you tomorrow, mama. Hey. You take it from Peter today, oh, Paul will take it from you tomorrow. Fine power is power, it can make you heavy. Looking like a crooked no, equate to capsize. Ah, Kesawalio. But people do to you, you dwell to cry. Had enough for one person, oh, it's a matter of time. After me is a lesson, yeah, brother, this I have. Sweet, sweet kiss, I will leave out. Not for go alone, mama. Human being can eat it, oh, the deer can eat it. Ah, cause I will leave out.
I, Jenny Kamara,
promise.
I promise
All the things I come to talk.
all the things I come to talk
To the
to the TRC
that
are
the truth.
the truth.
Nothing but the truth.
Nothing for the truth.
Nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Jenna, how you doing? How are you?
I thank God.
Okay. We say welcome, yeah?
All right.
And we tell you thank you for coming.
All right.
And for being patient also to wait for us. Yeah?
All right.
We're telling you thank you because what you're doing here today is good. And today people will think that small thing, but a very big thing. Because whether we have war in Liberia again or we have no more war will depend on what we do. And the way you come to support what we're doing. So it means that you don't want war in Liberia anymore, and so you support peace. So we tell you thank you for coming. What you say your name again?
My name is Jenny Kamara.
Okay, you can tell us your birth date, the time you were born.
No, about 20 years old.
Okay. Where you living?
Kamata home.
What are you doing, Nana?
I'm doing farm work.
You don't go to school?
No,
You never went to school before, or you're not in school now?
I'm not going to school.
Okay. You married?
Yes,
You got children?
yes.
How many children?
2 children.
Boy and girl?
Here,
A boy and a girl?
boy and girl.
Okay, tell us the story, yeah?
Okay. TRC, I came to you to tell story about the war. The time we were working in Rough was the war. We were to our home, Kamata home. The car attacked the place. We get in the bush. We go in our village. Government children go there. They go ask my father. They say, well, the lower can go Kungbon. The papa tell the people there. He sold the low to the people there. When they go, they say they don't see the low. They came back to the village. They say the papa down to them, they will kill all. They don't care what again. They tell the papa straight again. They say let the papa more go so they go to them. They were going. The papa had himself. He came back to all because when time they were going, they were telling the papa. They said when that to all, well go by in that video, we kill all of them in that video. What? You are people in all. So the papa had himself. He can't tell the village. He can't tell all. We are ourselves. We get in the bush. We in the bush now till we can pay a papa. We are there 2 months. Something was there. Make it contract for us to eat. We are there 2 months. Come to we can atala pay again. We move from there. We come Masambra home. We also did the 1 day. They can't attire the pay again. We move from there again. We went Kola home. We made 3 more over there. They can't attire the pay again. Now the pay again, Mama, Babala. Then later, while they came, Mama, we didn't run in now. We go in the play hembe. I go while there, one man see me. He say, "You want me?" Mata, I agree. Because they came up, you want it. Oh, Sophie, Mata, I agree. Me and Mary passing now, but I get pregnant. The time I get pregnant now, they may shake my hand again. The make girl says, the time where I did it now, the make just shake again. From then, They made that in my head again. Ulito la pena until the war finish. I did a pena to the mad people until the war finish. We go back to our home. But all my father bay in Kamata home. The horse where white people used to go out there and they play, they used to sleep. But they all is spoil the horse. Now they play now. I don't know how to sleep inside. I live with my uncle. And my uncle two owner. My grandma two living with me and she owner. We were there for bending her all until we make one we eat. Now we can buy food water $20 for cup. Until we make one we eat water. So I come here to talk to TRC to help me. That I want here to tell you, you're my peace and me. I want that Sophie. I got a children with me. My sister is going to school. You're my peace and me. I came here to tell TRC that all.
Jenny?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to TRC.
Okay.
The thing where you do that big thing. You see, that's why government put TRC together to come and listen to the people.
All right.
Because these things that happen to us, it hurt too much. And not only you, it happen to plenty people. But if we just keep it in our heart, you will not get no solution to it. And besides finding the solution to it, it will keep you down. Because you small, but every day you just be grieving in your heart. That's why sometimes it's good to say it out. When you say it, you'll be able to share your pain. Everybody here today feeling the same thing you're feeling. They understand how you feel now. And then that's why we say sorry. Do you understand? Let God continue to give you the strength. But you say your sister, then your pa, your ma and pa. What do you name? What your ma and pa name?
Mama ni miata. Miata Kamala.
And what your pa name?
Moina Kamala. Moina.
And then you say that you got your sister, your mom and pa got other children beside you. Because you say your sister then.
Yeah, I got sister then.
That you the big one?
Yes.
Okay, imagine. So your sister then walk to the house. What their name too? What your sister then name?
Honey Bendu.
Is she the only person?
No, and Hawa.
So Bendu and Hawa living with all of them with you?
Your brother?
You get brother? You get brother?
I got brother.
What is brother? What is the born name?
The many among barn whopping here. Yes.
So what happened? Since the war, you see him, or you say why you say you no play here?
And whopping here.
When the people came in your town, you were not there?
Oh, not there.
So the man where you married, that he don't want you got the children back? That you and him born? And you say you get a child?
Yes.
That you and the man get a child, the man who died? That you and him get a child?
No.
So the two children, you say you got two children?
Yes.
What the children name?
The other way again, he need answer.
What the other one name?
Miata. Miata. Ansu.
You say who was responsible? Who did it? Who killed the people that time in your town? You know the people name? That the government through or that Lloyd?
La government too.
You know the B man name? What the person name?
Liani?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know Liani.
You know any of them by name? We say thank you for coming, because see what you do, that the first thing you can do for yourself. Because the moment you keep the thing in your heart, it will not be able to help you. So now at least you'll be able to move on. I know you've been trying. So let God continue to be with you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Sorry for your mom, your pa, who they killed, and your other relatives, and they suffer, you suffer. He said, is it Lord or government troops?
Government troop.
That government troop grab you in the bush? That government troop kill your people?
I say you call him.
That kola when they kill your mom, your pa?
Yes.
That government troop that kill them? How about your husband?
My husband, but he was sick.
He was sick. And the troops that grab you in the bush, that government troop or the our Lord?
Who, my brother?
No, I said the troops that catch you in the bush, that government troops or that Lord?
Government troop.
Who that big man? You know that big man name?
No.
You never hear before the name of the big man?
Oh, the point of going.
Yeah.
The big man?
Yeah.
Now, this is Maza.
Caesar Maza. You saw him yourself with your own eye?
My own eye?
Yeah.
No, because I was in the bush, running away.
They burn house in your town when they went there? They burn some houses in your town? They burn any house in your town? Come out home?
They burn all the whole in the town.
They catch some people, they carry with them. They tie some people, they put some people in a rope that you see.
No.
They catch some of the young girl in the town and carry them for their wife.
No.
How about the young boy then? They force some of them to join them.
Yes.
They get their arm. Man, the young boy stay with them until the war finished or they came back?
They killed them.
They killed them?
Yes.
How you manage to know they killed them?
Because war in the pay here, they can't tell all. They put when you to catch them. They can't even for home. Like put the hard say, they can't tell all.
You know some of the name or the boys then who they catch and who they carry and they kill?
Our people there?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can tell us some of the names?
Lasana Sherry.
Lasana Sherry? That all they need you remember? That all they need you know?
Yes. Yes, and Kefahula.
The Lord forces, they came, they did any bad thing in your area?
The
Lord, Then they come to your area there. They do bad things there. They kill people there. They burn anybody's house there.
Les que people ne.
The Lord.
Il y a on parle que plenty people ne.
Who kill the people? Government through or Lord?
La government too. Disa maza.
Caesar Massa.
Yeah, they used to hold people ne. They put in the hall. They burn it.
What's in the other what's in the other bad things they used to do beside that one?
What?
Beside that one there, when they put the people in the house, they burn them. What's in the other bad things they used to do there?
They swallow.
And our Caesar Massa are leading the group.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh God.
Hello, Jenny.
Hello.
Thank you for coming to talk to us. We're sorry for the death of your father and your mother and the other people. Namaya. The TRC, our job not easy. We're trying to understand what happened in this country, especially here in Lofa. Plenty people were fighting here in Lofa. They had the government people, before Taylor government, they call it MPFL. But you heard that name before?
No.
You never heard MPFL, eh? Okay. Anyway, that was the name they called the Taylor people before he was elected president for their country. Then later on, one group came, they call it Ulimbo. Ulimbo J, Ulimbo K. They came and they were in the county fighting. You ever heard that one there before?
Well, I heard your name.
You heard that name, Ulimbo K, Ulimbo J, or just Ulimbo. You ever heard that name?
Yes.
Where you heard it from?
What about where?
Yeah, where you heard that name from?
Me?
Yeah.
What about your name?
No, where you heard that name, Ulimbo from?
Oh, la Quran.
Okay, you don't remember, eh? Okay. Then another time, after the election in 1997, they had government forces here in Lofa. Then the Lord people came, 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002, they called Lord. They came here from Guinea and they attacked the city here. Now, the story you told us just now, what time that story happened? You remember?
No, that I was small.
You were small. That more than 10 years ago?
I can't remember that one.
So it means you can't remember who did the thing to you, really. You don't really know, right?
Yes.
You don't know, but you just know that somebody killed your mom and your pa, and that somebody raped you. But exactly who did it, what group they belong to, you don't really know, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. God bless.
Jenna, sorry. Crusade Norma for your man and pa death. The time you were killing your man, you saw it yourself?
No, later when we went in the bush, I came my body was laying on.
How the body was looking, it was still like one body that you would know how to kill her?
No, la bread.
That what?
Bread.
She was bright.
Yeah. No, la bullet ho.
Oh, they kill her with gun. Okay. And then when you saw the body, the hair, the food, everything was still there.
Yeah.
People help you to bury your man?
No.
You just ran away, you left the body there.
Yes.
What's about your pa? Your pa?
My papa they kill me.
They kill your pa? You saw that one there too? You saw the people killing him?
No, yes, I come in Ballerina.
When you came to the town and you saw your papa body,
Yes.
how they kill him? They see him gone?
No. They call him through.
They cut out your papa throat.
Yes.
So when you came, you saw the body, the hair was still there?
Yeah, Mama.
Okay. The people in the town help you to bury your papa? They help you to bury your papa?
No.
So you just left the body there too?
Masa run away.
And you went running away?
Yes.
The time you were running away, the first time you met the soldier there? The time you were running away, the first time you saw the soldier there?
Yes.
How they were dressed?
How they were dressed?
Yeah, what you were on them?
They were dressed well.
Uniform? Military uniform?
What thing? Soya uniform?
Yeah, soldier uniform that you were on them.
Yes.
Did they tie red cloth on their head?
Yes.
They tie red cloth on their head?
Yes.
Okay. So that's how you managed to know that government forces, right? But in the era you heard about any other, in the era, you hear the name about another fighting group?
What I heard, I knew the fighting.
Yeah, another group. They're the people who the government forces were fighting. You know which of the fighting group they were fighting?
No.
Do you know who the government troops were fighting in the era? Who were the government troops were fighting?
Oh, who are going to fighting? The law forces.
Law forces.
Yes.
So during that time, you see any law forces?
Government forces?
No law. You are
Law
able to-
forces? No.
You don't see no law forces.
They can run away. They still running away.
Okay.
Jenna?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to ask you one question. How you know the difference between government force and land force? You know the difference?
When you see government force, you see law.
Law force and government force. You know the difference between the two?
Because I used to see government to parley, we used to have uniform on it, soya clothes. But law force will not have soya clothes on it.
So the people who kill your people that people who handle uniform?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama.
Anything else on your mind or in your heart that you want to tell us, the TRC, before you go?
The only thing I had to tell TRC to help me, because I have my sister there with me, they're going to school, they must help me. Number two, again, I got no food for me to eat. I'm stuffing over there. They spoil our home. They spoil my father's house. TRC must help me to fill them up for me. Because I got my grandma living with me. That one old. My uncle old. So I had to tell TRC to help me to do that one for me.
Okay. We hear you, yeah?
And
we say thank you.
Thank you too.
Everything you say, we'll now mark it down. When the time comes to make the decision, we'll make the decision, yeah?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Africa. Let's join hands and live together. Stop the fighting, stop the bloodshed. Let unity be the answer. Forget about tribalism. It only leads to destruction. Tell me, when will you see what is going on? Now is the time. We gotta stand up as one for us to make Africa. Yeah, let's unite Africa. Yeah, let's unite Africa. Yeah, let's unite Africa.
Come later, so that we not have interruption of people walking through the aisle. Of course, you have the very front row is reserved for VIPs. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Good afternoon and welcome, Mr. Witness.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
We are happy to resume from where we ended yesterday. And we are also happy that you were good enough to accept that we take the break and return. Yesterday you gave a lengthy testimony of your experience, the early childhood experience with some of the historical problems confronting our country, the conflicts of the early and late 70s, of the 80s, and then the 90s, the formation of ULIMO, and you went further to tell the Liberian people you are sorry. Today, we will resume by commissioners asking questions. Questions about what you have said, questions about some of the things you didn't say, in the hope that we can have a comprehensive understanding of what you intended to present to the Liberian people and the commission. I'm convinced that as we proceed, commissioners will be joining. But before I get to commissioners, during your testimony, there were dates and years left out. I hope in your responses to the questions, you'll be able to provide as much dates as possible when events happen and all of that. So with that, we'll turn over to Commissioner Coleman, who will commence the questioning. Thank you.
Not too good with dates, so and numbers.
Yeah, but maybe
I will try.
Yeah, please do.
Thank you, and again, welcome, Mr. Witness, thank you for giving us this opportunity to share with you, to try to understand what has happened in our past and how we can, testing, go forward for a better future. I have a series of questions, but I will try to spread them out and maybe even come back later after my colleagues have had a chance to speak also. First one, I'm concerned about the issue you brought up with regard to the labor situation in the early days with Firestone and the Fernando Pool incident. The Firestone, it seems, indirectly...
Excuse me, can you please carry the microphone closer to you?
Yeah. Testing, is that okay? Good. It seems that Firestone indirectly short-circuited our national resolve for self-reliance in a sense by corrupting the government officials and then gradually leading to a situation of, instead of creative development, a sort of subservient level of labor. So I'm trying to understand now, because when you made your statement, there was a connection that Firestone was paying a very small amount in a sense for people, but at the same time the issue of the Fernando Po crisis brought up a similar labor issue where people were to be hired and paid for the services that they rendered, that they, etc. So what I'm trying to understand is, how did this Fernando Po crisis become a crime in a sense, in that people were paid for a service, especially when I consider what happened, for example, in countries like Korea and other countries where cheap labor was exported, in Korea particularly to Germany. And the Germans paid that money, and the money was used to help develop Korea today by the leaders in those days. So I'm trying to get your perspective on the difference of our labor situation, how it short-circuited our creative development as compared to it being useful for us. So could you shed light on something of that nature?
Thank you. Well, in your own analysis, you can compare Korea with Liberia today and see whether anything benefited us. Firestone did not corrupt the officials.
Okay.
Because the officials had the official responsibility and personal responsibility not to be corrupt, to serve their country. Because you're always having temptation coming. Business people. I'm not saying it is the character of business to be corrupt. But the temptations are always coming. It is left with the government official, mindful of their sacred responsibilities and duties, and moral commitment to their citizens, not to accept that temptation. So Firestone didn't corrupt the officials. And mind you, these were very senior officials, starting from the president down to a senator, representing the people, introducing that bill in the legislature concurrently, simultaneously being retained as a lawyer by the company. There's a conflict of interest therein displayed. The question of labor, it was like the tail of the spider. My grandmother explained to me how spider is drawn in a little first grade book, how spider got small waist. And the story goes like this, that they always portray spider as a very greedy symbol. Spider was invited by 2 towns in opposite directions to the feast, big feast, and he got very excited. And the time wasn't too far from each other. One was having the lunch at 12 and the other one was like 1:30. And the distance was a little bit far. But he thought that he could make it at both places. And so he asked the first town that they should hold the end of a rope that he tied around his waist and said, when the time is ready, you should pull me. Then I'll come so we can have the festivities, so we can eat. Then he went to the opposite town and he gave them the other end of the rope without telling them that the other end of the rope had been given to the first town. So they also agreed to pull him whenever they were ready to eat. And so the 2 towns got ready simultaneously, opposite direction. They started holding the rope, and the rope was around his waist. Before that, he had a very fat body, so he couldn't go to any of the feast. Ended up being hungry, and then his waist got smaller. The government signed an agreement, the government of President King, to supply labor that Firestone even said should have been around 350,000, which was roughly the population then. With Firestone to supply labor. And then later on, they made an arrangement, the other side of the spider rope, to supply labor to the fields of Fernando Po of the Central African coast. So the festivities were ready at the same time. And the government had a rope around itself and gave the 2 ends to 2 groups that needed labor. And mind you, the 3rd group was the regular supply of labor to the commissioner to carry on his work. District commissioner appointed by the president. So by force, people had to go and do plotter work, they call it those days. So you had 3 groups demanding labor. This labor supply that appears that it cannot be depleted. Then the other factor is what kind of compensation was being given. Many of those who were taken from there didn't know how much they were going to receive. They were given very little. But the commissioner had to make arrangement with the chiefs and give them something very little. So for the whole year, for example, a laborer at Firestone got $1.50 the whole year per head per year. So that was exploitation, obviously. But it was your government that went into that agreement. And they were not going to send anybody else besides people from the interior. The same people that they had not recognized as citizens, whose culture they didn't assume had any value to the emerging democracy. But they were only useful for labor. This is similar to the experience under colonialism. When the French and the British came, they colonized, balkanized the territories. They had 2 different approaches, but with a common end. The French said, the British said, look, we're not going to pretend that we want to make you British citizens. No, you are subjects here in Africa. The French said, oh no, you can be a French person. But you know what? You have to be educated. You have to learn French and be an elite. But you know what happened? When the war came, they had to fight. They had to fight the Algerian war. They had to fight all around. The same people that the British said had nothing to do with their leadership, their rule, etc. And this caveat that the French had, that you had to be educated in French culture, etc., before you can be French citizen. The war made them to automatically grab a lot of Africans to carry them. One of them said, I can't speak French. He said, oh, forget about it. We're going to put away that particular requirement. So here was a scenario. These people were not considered as Liberians, even though the government had some sort of control over them in terms of administration and jurisdiction. And so, clearly, this was exploitation.
But you would say that this type of exploitation was in harmony, you say, with the chiefs? The chiefs got a certain payment and they sort of mobilized the people?
They were conniving. We didn't come here to defend what is wrong, no matter who is behind it. They were conniving, you know. And the other area was the land, because Firestone had to take 1 million acres. Of course, they didn't take 1 million acres right away. But what were the arrangements, legal arrangements, to have the people removed from the land? That didn't go down too well. And by the way, this is not an indictment of Firestone. I just use it as a case study to try to show what we were doing as Liberians to ourselves. So basically, yes, there was connivance between some of those people and the government.
Would you say that there's a big difference between what happened then at the rate of $1 something cents per year, when you consider the value of money then, and the current rate that is being paid laborers at Firestone this year? Would there be such a big difference from the exploitation factor?
Well, $1.50 for a whole year. I don't know what is being paid now. But even then, those who are living, including the Christie Report, the League of Nations Commission that was set up, they consider that as exploitation.
Okay, the next one. Do you see any link between Tubman's actions regarding your father and that of Mr. Fambule to the so-called global Cold War struggle that was going on at the time between the United States and the USSR?
I don't know the linkage to the USSR.
Well, they were accused of being communists, and there was a global Cold War where the so-called religious democratic world was fighting against the atheistic communist world. So that's what I mean when I say, do you think there may have been a link, that Liberia being on the sphere of the so-called American side, the religious democratic side, may have seen such involvement, even indirectly, as a threat to national security? From a
if I try to link it that way, it would be a matter of sophism. Because I don't think we're sufficiently sophisticated to have been an active part of that Cold War. I think it was just part of the accumulation of discrimination and one-sided rule, diluted democracy that was going on. They didn't want to include certain people whom they were afraid of, or may rise to try to call for equality. So I think it must be considered within the local milieu and the historical development of the mentality that characterized the people who came. So I don't think it was a sophisticated issue such as linkages to the Cold War international situation. It's been the root cause, what I was describing as psychosocial disequilibrium, the imbalance between the mindset of anybody, including especially the leaders, and their society. And they were warned, they were advised by some of their colleagues, settlers, like Edward Wilmer Blyden. He talked about this until he left Liberia, went to Sierra Leone, went to Nigeria, everywhere. They didn't understand him. And you know, it wasn't segmentation. The first group that came or took power were mulattoes. Joseph Jenkins Roberts and Daniel B. Warner Spriggs-Payne. The first real dark-skinned person who became president was Jeroy of the True Party, 1869. So, and when they kicked him out, the mulattoes came back again, founding father. So it took some time before the first born person of Liberian soil, Hillary Richard Wright Johnson, became president of this country. And through intermarriage and interaction, this color thing faded. Nobody was getting too red, as they call it. And then they started reducing the color. And then it came to the question of, again, origin. Where did you come from? So we saw this all along. I mean, there was gradual assimilation, but too insufficient to constitute a change, a transformation.
So then what about those professors that were dismissed from the university for teaching foreign ideas? So that too was just part of a cultural situation and not linked to communism?
A couple of names came up in my mind. Couldn't remember everything. I remember Dr. Tipote. I don't know why the Pope Mary Antoinette Brown Sherman, because she wasn't teaching anything, maybe just by friendship. Several of them, I can't quite remember. I don't know whether Amos Sawyer was part of that. Dr. Fambule hadn't come to the university those days. I think he came around 78. And this issue, I don't think really they were teaching communism, because these were people with PhDs in capitalist economics and different courses. If they came to teach anybody at university, they had to be equal to the students, because they didn't have any superior knowledge in communism and socialism, because they came with their PhDs from the center of capitalism. So I don't think they were qualified to teach anybody any foreign ideology. But I think they were being suspected of wanting to mobilize indigenous people on campus and to oppose the government. So I think the government was going through the medium of school to try to get them out of the university, because that was a fertile mind to try to mobilize students as part of the agitational process. So I don't think it had anything to do with foreign ideology.
Okay, thank you. The next one, how about the fact that SOUP and this other party rose during the 70s as compared to coming up earlier in our history? What do you think was the factor or the thing that allowed that to happen then as compared to it not happening earlier?
You couldn't try nonsense like that during Tottenham time.
Okay.
SUP. And we were not antagonistic on campus. I was chairman of SOUP at some point, and Rochefort Weeks and all the boys were in SDPP. But in the night we used to go and when we get hungry on the dorm, we take a little stove and put some rice inside and put a butter over it. And Rochefort Weeks used to have, we used to call it ice bath in his mouth because he didn't want us to eat some of the food, and he would just leave it on the stove and start eating it hot. So we had those kind of very friendly and personal relations. Okay, I think people should have copied from us that you don't have to be enemies when you are political rivals. So the SDPP, it just happened that they were, people who were so-called American Liberians were more comfortable in SDPP. Mind you, some of the so-called American Liberians were also in SOUP. As a matter of fact, James Cooper was the president of the student council on the SOUP ticket when my brother Lasana was vice president. So it wasn't a clear-cut situation, but the drive was there. They were more sympathetic to the government than the SOUP. So I don't think that we have tried that, even though one or two students I heard about, Cole or something, before our time, tried some of these things at the university, but we decided that we organize ourselves. We're not too sure, by the way, quite frankly, that something wouldn't have happened from the Torba government. But I was in St. Patrick's High School then, writing all kinds of little small articles about inequality from my experience with my father and the rest. So by the time I got to the university, I felt I was a grown-up, I was an adult, I was very conscious, and so whatever that was being preached by Moja or any other intellectual didn't seem new to me, and so I didn't take too much of it. But we felt that it was a risk to organize SOUP on the campus there. But certain risks are worth taking. The end result would be very positive.
What was the ultimatum you gave the government, that the students gave the government?
I'm sorry, you shifted your head. I didn't hear you.
Yeah, there was an ultimatum that you mentioned that was given to the government.
You know, we're students, we had to use strategy. You know, we said if you don't re-employ these professors, we'll demonstrate, we'll leave the campus. So that you, the administration, since you feel that you can have students without faculty, then you must stay by yourself and see whether you will see students. So we decided we're planning a walkout. Leave the campus and leave it with the president and the vice presidents and the other professors who were not dismissed.
In your opinion, at that time, why do you think the late President Doe decided to run for political office after having promised that he would leave the government and let the new elected government take over? Why do you think he made that shift of thinking?
Oh, you've jumped 10 years, right?
Yes, I'm going back to 85, that period there.
Yeah, try to alert me now so I can follow you.
Sorry, okay. So, I'm just trying to pick some random questions based on the discussion yesterday.
Go ahead. So I don't know, quite frankly, but from what I heard, there was a big debate going on. You know, I think Nancy Doe, First Lady Nancy Doe, and some family members were trying to encourage him not to run. You know, it's always the family that can look at these things straight. Then some of those people who depend on your being in office for them to be comfortable and say, no, we have the chance, we can move. I heard things like that, but I never asked Doe. And I never discussed with him the issue of wanting to run, because the first time I heard about his running business was in the cabinet meeting, when he had already organized NDPL and asked us to make clear our positions. And as I told you yesterday, that's when Minister Allison, the late Grady Allison, may God help him, he stood up and said that he was behind the president 1,000%. And everybody went on with the chorus. And I didn't say anything. But he wasn't satisfied with what he had said, nor my silence. So he asked the president to ask me why I was silent. And I said, well, look, I'm a young man, but I've been following events in this country. Hypocrisy. I've sat down alongside top officials in the government, they're gossiping about Toba, they're gossiping about this and that. And as soon as the president shows his face, oh, Mr. President, how you do, sir? You know, and this was, to me, very dirty. So this man was saying 1,000%. So I asked the president, I said, I will answer you, but can you please ask the minister, Allison, to stand up? Nobody knew what I wanted to do. So he stood up, and I stood behind him.
Oh, yes, you
and the president was directly opposite him. So I asked the president, I said, if anybody were to shoot Mr. Allison from the front, what is the possibility of the bullet touching me? He said, I don't think it would touch you quickly. Then I stood on the side of Mr. Allison. I said, if somebody had an automatic weapon trying to shoot, what's the likelihood that the bullet would touch me? He said, very high. Then I said, if I decide to be with you, I will not be behind you, I'll be on your side. Because you can't see behind you. You can see on your side. So that was the first time I knew that he wanted to run. And I didn't feel good about it because he disclosed at that moment that he already organized a political party. They were already officials. So if I were a friend, how much was I in the loop, so to speak? So that didn't augur well for me in my calculation. And I wasn't going to be hypocritical. So I just kept silent. So I don't know what eventually carried him to the presidency.
Thank you. Next, do you know anything about the supporters of the Kuampa invasion? Who those who the possible supporters were?
What do you mean? What do you mean supporting? You mean military or civilian or what? What do you mean? External?
Okay, well, let me ask you another question then, now that you brought that to mind. In a situation where you have a military force acting against the government, there are three usual levels of people responsible. Number one, those who visionize the formation of the fighting group and give their financial support to it. Number two, the high command of the actual military wing that carries out that work. And number three, the foot soldiers that do the day-to-day community killing. In your opinion, of those three groups, how would you distribute responsibility and accountability for the damages done? Would you distribute it evenly amongst them, or would you give greater weight to one than the other?
I'll tell you something about this responsibility business. It's a very tricky area. When you talk about responsibility, you're being subjective. Because you don't know what quantity of the damage you can attribute to anyone. Secondly, who quantifies this as damage? Coming from which side? And so they're heading hands. You said three groups. There could be 10, 15, 20 groups. Many of them could be the secret dimensions of what's happening. And most of the information we got was after the incident took place. You heard Dr. Famler giving you details of some of the organizers. So I think suffice to say that I don't know anybody else in terms of the organizers, etc., because I don't believe in rumors and hearsay. I like to prove things. I like to deal with evidence. Of course, you can intellectually analyze and speculate things. But when it comes to damages and apportioning damages to this person, that group, I think it's very subjective and risky. So I don't know. And accordingly, I don't know the foot soldiers. I mean, we saw some people, they arrested some people. I guess those were the foot soldiers. I don't know which ones escaped. So it's to me, you know, I wouldn't be truthful.
No, I'm not asking you to be truthful, be focused on. I'm just putting a scenario in front of you. Given a situation where A attacks B and A and B go to war. On A side, there are people who decide to organize their army and finance it. They are the high command, and they are the people who implemented the job. And on B side, the same thing. At the end of the battle, if one was to come in and say, let's assess the situation and put accountability, how would you, in your opinion now, see the way to distribute that responsibility?
It depends on what happened and who did what. You can't look at it global and say, oh, because somebody playing this thing, it means that he's responsible. Or because you didn't see him in the front, he's not responsible. Okay? In the distribution of the responsibility, you have to look at who did what specifically. Because some group or an individual can move in somewhere in a violent way. Not all violence is illegal. And for example, the police, the military, if they're acting based on instructions and they're acting within the pale of the law, and violence is necessary or required to subdue, for example, a criminal, and in self-defense somebody shoots somebody, things like that, or in war people exchange bullets, people who have arms exchanging bullets towards each other. Of course, an act of violence, but I mean, it's an incident. The other thing here is that when, for example, that's the interesting thing about coup d'etats. When it fails, it becomes criminal. They arrest you. You commit treason. But when it succeeds, people run to you for positions, including those who should have been arresting you. Okay, so as a historical and intellectual exercise, okay, does the group that overthrew the government become legitimate? It depends on whether the international community will accept you. Okay, but that's a different discussion. So, quite frankly, I think people should not be tempted to try to apportion general responsibility without looking at who did what specifically. If Kuongba came in and he didn't kill anybody in his violence, or we don't have any proof, and he came in a way that it was purely military or mostly military, to engage a military opponent, would you say that the military people who got involved in it, obviously they were coming to violate a law, because at the time Doe had been accepted as head of state, and according to the laws, it's not the whole constitution. I think some portions were still operable, but would you say that they were not coming to commit treason? Okay, if you look at it in the framework of the law, so that's another aspect, it's a legal argument. But if you take it holistically, they were coming to commit treason. All right, so they were responsible for attempted treason. But if you look at it from the humanity point of view, with respect to whether the reaction to that was necessary and what was the nature of the reaction, then you have to look at its specificity to determine that. And that's a very serious responsibility, and that's one of the reasons why I think this TRC, we should look for more money to give to you so you can continue a little bit more. The time too short for the volume of work you got to carry on, and for the requirement, the responsibility you have to posterity. You know, it's even bigger than the whole United Nations, the Liberian problem here. And only 8 of you got it on your head.
Thank you. Again, I noticed later on you told us that you were somehow involved in the struggle in Sierra Leone through one particular group that you named, I think MR or something. So could you tell us how come you got involved in a battle in Sierra Leone at that time in your life?
But that's the whole business of the war of Ulimo. That's the whole business right there. So I will summarize it.
Yeah, that was.
First of all, there was no MRM in Sierra Leone, and MRM was never a fighting group. It was a group, an advocacy group, trying to find out why and try to stop through statements and lobbying with governments the targeting of Muslims, because they didn't want to talk about any other group, because there were a lot of groups behind the lines in Liberia. So they wanted to take responsibility for only Muslims and not talk about some people who were plenty. All the other tribes were still plenty behind lines, but they were in Guinea at the time as refugees, and the killing was still going on, so they wanted to alert the international community. So that was different. Now, as I've told you, we were hoping that ECOMOG would have quickly taken care of the situation here in Liberia, because we didn't think from the beginning that MPFL was so strong that a great Nigeria with its money and military largesse, along with Guinea, who had a reputation of having trained people, well-trained people, then coming in with Ghana, very disciplined people, soldiers, and then the other countries with Sierra Leone and Gambia, all of them involved in there, with airplanes, Howitzer 107, all kinds of long-range artillery pieces. We didn't really believe that they couldn't quickly subdue Charles Taylor, you know. And the war went on in 1990, 1991, 2 years, and more people trapped behind, they would slip through, and they come, and people had to gather around them to cry, and they would tell you the stories, especially from the targeted groups. And then in that situation, the RUF bust through the northern part of Liberia, Lofa County, I think through Bwedu, and went into Sierra Leone. And then they quickly overtook the entire eastern side of Sierra Leone and the southeastern, where we were. They're crossing from the area, Bowater side here into the Zimi area, into Kenema, all these places. And then when the RUF came, they said, y'all who the Liberians here, y'all run away from Taylor, y'all can't bother with us here, or we can't bother with you here. So that was the interpretation, because our people were being killed equally. So here we were, refugees in Sierra Leone being killed. Then we had Guinea there, and we were asked for this special attention to those who were being specifically targeted. Yes, they were trying their best, and people were dying. And we saw that the RUF was increasing. So we went to the Sierra Leone government through our representatives, Chile and the rest, to offer, because some AFL people ran away. They carried their weapons, but the Sierra Leone government confiscated those weapons, M16 weapons. They didn't have ammunition anyway. So we offered to help, to train some of their people and our people, so that we could fight those who have come from Liberia to kill us. Because we're just concerned right there now about our own lives in Sierra Leone. And President Momo said, how can we trust you people? You're all mixed up in this place. You came from Liberia. All Liberians and Liberians are mixed up with the people attacking us. So we told him that you just have to trust us, because we are running away too, as your people. So he said, okay, we'll take a small number of you people to assist. And God made it, you know, you can have all the money, all the weapons. If you don't have inspiration to fight, you will go nowhere. You will just be a dressed up army, looking fine with your starched uniforms. But if you don't have cause to move in, you will not go, unless maybe you are dropped. And even that is just short. Once the drop wears from your face, you'll be standing out there naked. So the boys were inspired. They had to leave. Their parents were still behind line. And those that were in Guinea and other places had to be washing clothes. Washing clothes. Our mothers washing clothes. This dry skin, goat skin. They used to skin the goat and put it out there to pray or to do other things. That was what our mothers had to take to soak. Sometimes for a whole week under the water. And then they'll cut in pieces and use it as meat. Can you imagine that? People with big names in Liberia. Pack up in one little room, their wives and children. But that was not the problem so much. It was the question of life behind the line. So we couldn't run into the sea, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't want to die, keep on dying, lying down. So we wanted to help with the Sierra Leoneans. And maybe by that first to protect ourselves in Sierra Leone. And they had a hope that we would find our way and smuggle ourselves behind the lines into Liberia. But we're not sure that the government will have helped us. So that's how come we end up fighting along with the Sierra Leone army. And I can tell you, we have to train them too. They didn't look like they were too inspired like us, because they were in their country, we were out of our country. And one of our trainees he ended up becoming president, was Valentine Strasser. He was shot, and we took him, carried him somewhere in the bush, nursed him up, and then eventually they went to Freetown.
What was the basis of your experience in military to the point where you felt that you had to train them? Is that because of your period of involvement with the PRC?
Oh, you mean I personally?
Yeah. Oh, when you're saying we, you're talking
about
I say
we were talking about the whole group.
Okay.
And we had some former army officers, etc.
All right.
I was just there as an as an intellectual advisor, because, as I said last night, from the time this thing happened to my father, he told us to read. I was concerned about the whole Africa then, the issue of liberation, and my main focus was the Amilcar Cabral and the PAIGC, and they were very effective in how they managed to overcome the Portuguese forces without big arms, without this and that, but just by the same inspiration, they were able to train people how to cause a war of attrition, how you can get people from the opposite side without getting guns. And that's exactly the strategy we use. Anybody can tell you who was on the war front. We didn't have anything, all right? And I can tell you we stole some small ammunition from the Sierra Leone people, and we crossed. As I told you yesterday, we knew that the bulk of the people that they got from Cape Mount, you know, every time they captured somewhere, they forcibly recruited people. So we knew that was one of our strengths.
Okay.
Because many of us have that background from Cape Mount, from Bomi County, Bapolu down to Lofa, and some parts of Bom. So we knew that hundreds of our little brothers and other people had been involuntarily taken. And when we got that, so I specialize in radio communication as well, especially multi-frequency changing of the radio frequency. So we're talking through that, and we're speaking languages, you know, Loma, Madingo, Pele, etc. And then, of course, I had the added opportunity of being president of the Mighty Barrow Sports Association 85-87, where we became triple champions. I don't know whether you IE, but we gave IE 13 different defeats at the same time. So that was very, very enticing to many of the young fellows from Bassa. And they were loaded up in the MPFL. So we got that information. I started going on the radio and asking, who are in Barrow? Asking the MPFL. And many of them were with us. So with that, we were able to succeed. We succeeded in a guerrilla war. And those were the tactics that I picked up from Cabral and the rest of them. So it was not any special military stuff I had, no.
Thank you. Next, you mentioned that Ulimbo came in as the next phase after the Sierra Leone experience. And Ulimbo's motivation was more to come and help deal with the problems that have been carried out against the Madingo people. So I'm trying to understand from you, what was the real motivation for Ulimbo being formed? Was it more to revenge what had been done, or was it more to protect against the future continuation of what had been done, particularly when one considers the Bakadu massacre, etc.?
Factual errors. You made some statements that are not factual. I didn't say.
No, I'm asking a question.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know, but you laid a premise. First of all, Ulimbo was never organized in Liberia. The government of President Momo didn't know us as Ulimbo. But we knew ourselves as Ulimbo when we organized to fight alongside the Sierra Leone soldiers. One. Number two, this was not a Madingo fight. As a matter of fact, in Sierra Leone, you probably have more clans, many guilds, a lot of our boys, Mendes, Peles, different tribes. So it was not a Madingo organization. Neither was it to come and revenge for Madingo people, no. No, we were not targeting people. When I saw Charles Bromsky in Conakry, and he introduced himself as one of the hierarchies of the MPFL, and he had this document in his hand, lobbying for sanctions not to be imposed on the MPFL, and I asked him, what are you saying about those people behind the line who are suffering there, who are being killed? What kind of lobbying are you carrying on? You've come here to stop people from imposing sanctions on Taylor. Don't you know that's one of the best ways? Instead of fighting him, or the ECOMOG is there, yes, but an added sanction of economic sanctions and other things, wouldn't those steps make it faster and quicker for him to give up? And you come in here, you think we are fools to join you so that our enemy who is doing bad things to us can be freed and relieved from sanctions? I remember that day I had a white shirt, short white sleeve shirt in Siaka Toure's office there in Conakry at some shipping agency. And he wanted us to convince ourselves. And some people came to me and said, look, why don't we report this man to the gendarmerie? We wouldn't even tell the big people here. But let them catch him, whip him, and anything they can do with him because he's our enemy. There's a Congo man here, like child stealer people. And he said he's a hierarchy. I said, no. The man knew you were here. He didn't think that you would harm him. So why would you want to conspire to do bad things, bodily harm to him, especially asking a whole government agency to do something bad to somebody illegal? I said, no. Tell him what you had to tell him and let him go. We were not targeting, the Madingos were not targeting anybody besides not being the only group. And I told you here also that I was in Conakry just about the time this formation started, that a Gio minor friend of mine called from Monrovia and said that he wanted to go to America, he wanted to pass through Conakry, and whether I could pick him up. I said, of course, you can come. But he was very brave, but he believed in our friendship and in me as an individual. So we picked him up at the airport and brought him to my house. And my family wasn't there. So he and I started talking in my room. 2 o'clock in the morning, we're still there. And then big knock on my door. The boys came and said, we want to see you quickly. I came outside and said, you don't understand that man's a minor Gio man? That's a serious robber that's sent here to take care of you. And you got him in your bedroom. I said, no, man, this man's my friend. They said, we're not sleeping. Anything, just knock something in the room. Anyway, the next day, this guy, I carried him to the airport, and he went to the United States. So you can comfortably conclude that if I hadn't helped Joseph Cotto, he wouldn't have been Dr. Cotto today.
Okay, so I guess from this statement you're trying to say that Yulimbo's goal was not ethnic in any way, it was more just to protect the country against the military might of the MPFL at that time?
Exactly.
Okay.
And
but then we do realize that there was a time where you're split, and your split happened to have been ethnic line, meaning Yulimbo K and Yulimbo J, where it now became K representing a Medingo group, fraction in a sense, and the K representing more the Gio crown, crown, etc. I mean, was that true, or was that just also a myth?
Let me ask you a question. Sorry. And this has no subjective factor. What are you? Are you a miracle Liberian or Grebo or what?
No, I'm a Liberian and a child of God.
Okay, anyway. You see, one of our problems in this country here is collective guilt. We're quick to apportion, we're quick to identify. Because I'm presidential candidate of ARCOP, it means that there's a Madingo party. Because I don't know what category of poor Mrs. Salif in. She got all kinds of background. Okay, no, she doesn't fit here. What other people? Vani Sharma. Because Vani Sharma is standard bearer of LAP, and he's VI. So LAP is a VI party. Because LPP was funded mostly by Moja people. How many Moja people in this country? They can vote to win election? So that Moja party? No. And we have to stop that. That's part of the cleansing of our minds. Because the more prejudiced you are, the less educated you are. The more educated you are, the less prejudiced you are. Because the definition of education is scientific approach, investigation, before you come to conclusion. But when you conclude, because your uncle told you, then you say you got a PhD? No, that's a corrugated PhD. This is the problem here. Because I was a Haji Kroma, I'm a Muslim, so the Yulimo that I was heading should be Madingo. Was Joe Harris Madingo? Isaac Kwawa Madingo? John Colley Madingo? These were not only non-Madingos, but they were Christians there. And a whole bunch of Crown people were with us in Ulimo. So we didn't actually split. It's a group that left. And left the original one, and so we got a name to distinguish them. Because we all were claiming to be Ulimo, so they added little letters. In fact, sometimes people thought Ulimo K was Ulimo Crown. They said, no, like Ulimo Kroma. Okay? So no, we didn't divide along those lines. And I tell you, that happened almost late, when most of the places had been liberated from MPFL.
What time was that, please?
I think it was 94, close was 94 ending, I think so. That can be confirmed.
Okay, thank you. I'm just asking points.
No, I mean, it's good, so it's good.
That you can please,
you know, I won't say everything unless you ask me.
Then next, to be more specific now, Ulimo K, or Ulimbo per se, was involved in several military incidents in this country. Particularly, I would like to look at one incident that happened in Lofa. Okay, in Lofa, there was an incident that is called the Black Monday affair.
Black Monday?
Yeah, I mean, that's the cliche that people may have in the community gave that particular incident, because it would happen on a Monday, and obviously a lot of painful things happened. During that incident, over 1,000 people were slaughtered.
Wow.
And some say it was what they call the cleansing process, separating sheep from goats, in the sense that Madingo Muslim type people were not targeted, they were sort of given grace, but most of the killing was done to the Lama and the Crown people at that time. So I want you to please shed light on what you may have known, because there's rumors or statements that you were personally informed about that particular situation where the soldiers were gathering people in the town, calling them together for a meeting, putting them in trucks or vehicles, and sending them to the Zilaba River Bridge, where they killed them and executed them. So would you like to shed light on that and your involvement in that particular incident, or your knowledge of it, and what was done to prevent it?
Commissioner Coleman, I'm calling you.
Yes, I'm listening.
If you have not heard any lie in your life, consider this as one of the biggest lies. To the point that I who sitting here have never heard this story before. I've heard of other lies, but this is the biggest one I've heard. 1,000 people who are in Lofa. Who are in Lofa? 6 tribes, 8 tribes at that time. You take Bapolo, or 8 tribes. The Madingos, the Lomas, the Peles, the Bandis, the Kisis, the Menes, and the Golas at the time. Who is Ahaji Kroma? Who is Ahaji Kroma? Of course, in Africa, you are what your father is by tribe. But let's break it down a little bit. My father's mother was Lama woman. My mother's mother was Lama woman. My mother's grandparents, maternal grandparents, were Kopo and Koboy. And that's how come I speak Loma. I can give you parables in Loma that the Loma man wouldn't understand. We did not go for the group that was killing us to Artington, where Charles Taylor was from. We didn't go there to kill 1,000 people. We had to go to our own homes to go kill our own people. What sense does it make 1,000 people? How many people were in Lofa at the time that you're going to collect 1,000 to kill and somebody will still be there? Now, let me read you something.
Please, let's not focus on the number per se. The number may be a little bit overstated,
but I'm just telling you
the incident.
Yes, but you mention it, and those who hear it, they are alarmed by the number, so we have to deal with the number.
Okay.
There was no such incident.
The incident itself you deny ever happened?
Completely.
Okay.
Now let me read something to you very briefly. Please indulge, and I'll give you a copy later. Statement to His Excellency Major Charles Ganye Taylor, Chairman and President of the NPFA government, by the citizens and residents of Lofa County, March 5th, 1991. in the city of Vonjama, Lofa County, Republic of Liberia. Statement. For some 3.5 decades, the African continent has continued to experience changes of government from country to country. Patriots emerge and express various justifications for overthrowing existing leaders, but while in power, many of which patriots only tend to lend a deceiving hand to their people. The people of Lofa County have grasped the feeling that the revolution in Liberia today is unlike many of the revolutions referred to. We recall that since December 24th, 1990, this popular uprising, now referred to as the People's Uprising to unseat despotic, satanic, and ungodly Samuel Kedo, include the following. 1. A. The rigging of the general elections of 1985. Okay. Tribalism, to name a few. I think I left one page out here. Now, predicating upon the reasons for this popular uprising, the people of Lofa County overwhelmingly welcomed the revolution, thereby embracing and welcoming the freedom fighters to our beloved county. Lofa's support to the revolution is evidenced by many contributions such as A. Moral and necessary accommodation, B. Enlistment of over 2,000 sons and daughters of Lofa at the Lofa training base here in Vonjama. It goes on, and then it comes here. It says, we the people of Lofa cherish and hold these of your ideals in high esteem, and therefore we will be deceiving you, the nation, and ourselves the most, should we fail to tell you the truth about issues prevailing in Lofa County. Since on that historic Saturday of July 14, 1990, the day the freedom fighters captured Vonjama, the seat of Lofa County, it is worthy to note, Mr. Chairman, that the National Patriotic Front of Liberia met no resistance whatsoever from any quarter. Moreover, the fact that a multitude of citizens stayed to welcome the freedom fighters as a further manifestation of Lofa's sincere stand behind the cause of the popular uprising. Mr. Chairman and President of the National Patriotic Reconstruction Assembly, it is to state that since the fateful day of July 14, 1990, the climate of activities prevailing in the county has compelled us to bear mixed feelings. Activities under reference include the following. 1. Some freedom fighters who saw their tribal brothers that sought refuge in Lofa at the time they were being haunted by forces of those evil regime were quickly armed by the very freedom fighters, and together they are looting and harassing the very peaceful citizens who provided them asylum. 2. We have observed here that corruption, favoritism, tribalism, nepotism, and continuous looting, even after the ceasefire was announced, are the order of the day in Lofa. For example, arbitrary arrest and detention and subsequent extortion of money from peaceful citizens, monopoly of commercial activities by commandos. C. Illegal seizure and personal possession of civilian properties. D. Extortion of money by immigration personnel from aliens in Lofa County in the range of $25 to $100 per person while any receipt. E. Looting of Lebanese stores and residences. 3. Gross disregard to executive orders by commandos. A. Secret tying of peaceful citizens. B. Secret execution. Secret executions of innocent civilians by commandos. C. Dehumanizing and humiliation of citizens, public raping, etc. 4. Total disregard for and interruption of our cultural norms, poor and Sunday societies, entering by commandos into the Sunday schools of girls. B. Public insult, undressing and flogging of females, elderly people who are all law-abiding. 5. Bank robbery and armed robbery. The ACD bank building have been broken into, records damaged, and recently many attempts have been made to enter the vault of the bank. We consider this act a very grave matter because it is capable of killing that confidence that our local people, mostly farmers, tend to have in our financial institutions. It must be registered that about 80% to 85% of all savings at the ACD bank is owned by our farmers. The taking away of Mr. Hossein's, this is B now, the taking away of Mr. Hossein's, Tagidin's, I think he's a Lebanese man, his safe at gunpoint. And 6, intimidation and threats. Trying to send for some peppermint candy from last night. Intimidation and threats. A. Commandos have further said that Lofa citizens and their properties, including their lives, are for President Charles Gange Taylor. and any serious report against them will cause the life of lives of the reporters, those who report them, and there will be no redress. B, commandos have said that the Lofa citizens are stupid and they are war captives. C, despite the fact that the commandos are fed by our people, yet they are in constant habit of forcibly taking rice from our people. Such commandos justify their action by claiming that as commandos they must be fed by the citizens. To our utmost dismay, many do sell such collection or gave seam to their associates. We the citizens then wonder what has happened to the harvest of our farms referred to as deserted farms. This act is unbearable as it makes victims unable to even feed themselves and their families. 7, damage to development institutions. A breaking and taking away of Vonjama Multilateral High School. The Tegel Academy, Vonjama Public School books, equipment, dormitory facilities, and destruction of records and equipment. B, taking away of project items such as building materials, generators, and other items from PLAN, Plan International, Vonjama Field Office. C, breaking into homes of missionaries, and taking away their properties. D, the looting of LPMC, LCADP, Foya oil mills, and warehouse of farmers' cooperative societies. Damage to mosque in the county. 8, 9, looting of personal and public properties, vehicles from individuals and hospitals, household materials. And 10, civilian administration. We regret to inform you that even after the institution of civilian administration, the commandos still obstruct the smooth cooperation of the civilian administrators. On and on, on and on. And they respectfully submitted statement, Committee of Lofa County. 1, Honorable Tamba Taylor, Chairman. 2, Honorable Augustine J. Zeze, who later on became member of the MPFL, Co-Chairman. Number 3, Honorable Joseph K. Kaba. Number 4, James K. Molu. Number 5, James C. Momba. Number 6, Cecilia Kwemolu. Number 7, Leopold Bondo. Number 8, Joshua Sami. Number 9, Robert Bole. Number 10, Samuel D. Freeman. Number 11, Mr. Mohammed Bari, Fula Governor. Number 11.
What year was that, please?
This is March 5th, 1991. And one of those, the secretary to this committee, who happened to eventually become a member of my party, ARCOP, and I showed him this name. He said, yes. But we had his statement, and when Taylor came, we wanted to submit it to him, and he got a hint of it. So we were called one side and told not to present the paper, but somehow he had already leaked. Evidently, you have a copy. So we never presented it to him, but this was our statement. So I read this. I don't know how many people know this. Every time you hear about destruction and things in Lofa, the first thing will be a Haji Kroma and Yulimo. This is MPFL from the very beginning, 1991. They have already gone through all of this thing here. When we entered Vonjama, March 16, 1993, there was no war. We went to Kola, where I grew up, Sevilahu, there was no war. We went to Foya, there was no war. As a matter of fact, we heard later on, sometime, that one General Fire, I don't know whether he's still living or not, that he was MPFL, but he joined RAMAH. They had moved to a place way up in Foya called Vietnam. And nearby the Tok Chief Tamba Taylor, you know, he had several wives. He was a very, very great chief, close to 20, 30, 40 wives and more than 100 children. So they had kidnapped him. Accent about it here, Vietnam. And so a message was sent to me. I was in Bombay Hills at the time, whom they would dispatch. One of the generals, I think he was Colonel at the time, yeah, Colonel Isaac Kwawa, I think he's at Defense Ministry now, a career soldier. I said, go to your home along with the late Philip Kamara with some fighters. That chief is a legend. And you don't want to go in there because of the chief, but that man is on a destructive spree because being a member of both MPF and RUF, you can imagine what's going to happen. And he carried into Vietnam. I said, how did we get him in Vietnam, in Liberia? Those who went there with very few men, tactically, they arrived in the night and they were able to rescue Chief Tamatilo. Any of his children will tell you that we brought him out. So the question of fighting in Lofa, we have very few battles. The only battles, very good, your question is good.
So that was my next question. Will you please tell me, what do you acknowledge Yulimbo having done in Lofa regarding massacres?
Well, we didn't massacre anybody.
So
I can tell you that. I took an oath on the Quran. And the Quran means a whole lot of stuff to me. And it can do a whole lot of stuff to you who believe it, and then you lie. People know that. And it can deal with you in stages. Sometimes you talk, you can't even hear your own voice. Anyway, let's leave that yet. The battle, you know, propaganda was one of the mainstay of the war. And I can tell you that Robin White, he was a great admirer of Charles Taylor. That focus on Africa was 40% of the military largesse. You understand? Because I can remember one time, at the very beginning of the war, you know I'm a journalist. You have finished?
Yeah, sorry. Just.
I said, John, stop. I'm not getting man. Okay. I was listening. I was Director General LBS, journalist, etc. Robin White asking Charles Taylor on the radio. We understand that AFL troops are coming for Yekepa. Evidently, Taylor didn't know this. And they'll be taking the train from Buchanan to come. Are you going to allow this? Taylor said, hell no, we're not going to allow it. What is that? Where did you get the information from? All right. So what happened with this Lofa situation? Let me just give you the full dose.
Please.
Very quickly. And there are some people here today that will tell you, some top officials. When we talk over Vonjama, Kola, and the rest of it, then it became a political issue. After the Cotonou, and shortly before that, I think, some Lofa officials went to Charles Taylor, according to Charles Taylor's explanation to me later on in Monrovia here. You got Kroma sitting down here in Vonjama, and we're about to go to elections after this Cotonou Accord. He is going to convince all those people to vote for him. We've been with you this whole war here, and that's our county. Some of us want to be senators. What is going to happen if Kroma remains there? Election time comes. So we want for MPFL to help us go and clear Kroma out of Lofa. Taylor told me that, I'm not going to call any people's name because they're not here, that he told them that they should collect all their Lofa fighters in MPFL. But he's not going to allow any of his regular fighters to go. Number one. Number two, he doesn't have arms. He can only afford a few. Then he said, they told him that we have most of our former soldiers of the AFL in Fasangoni. That was a refugee area with some medical people in Guinea. We can go for them. And they will fight. And I believe the story. Why? Because our first and fresh attack, we didn't see the regular MPFL people. And they're attacking from two areas. From the Guinea side, from the direction of Fasangoni, and from Zozo side. From Bon County side, where the MPFL was. And I felt very bad. Because these are some of the Loma people that had run away from the war, and they were sitting down there in refugee camps. They had never fought regular war. You go and collect them to bring them to fight. And in the attack, a number of them were killed. When I went to the States, 99, 98, that's when I lost some of the ID cards. I had kept about 5 ID cards of these former AFL soldiers. LIBERIA people. They were brought into their death for nothing. There are young boys who have been fighting in some instances, and then they had AK weapons. Then you bring your old M1, and some of these, what is it called, Beretta or something, that Taylor gave to the MPFL LIBERIA boys. And they came to fight. And when the death took place of those people, I'm telling you, the news spread in Masenta, all the places. Oh, our LIBERIA people have been killed. Our LIBERIA people have been killed. And then as time went on, I will not call the politician name. God will bring him for him to say something here to the Liberian people. He was in Monrovia. The same premise, the political thing that really prolonged this war. Whenever the war was about to end and it looked like it's not ending in their favor politically, then they will maneuver for something to happen. Ask me, I will give you instances. This is what kept this war on and on, because it was not ending properly, quote unquote. You want for Kroma to be Eisenhower here, to walk here in victory so people can vote for him? No. Y'all sitting down here, something going on in Lofa. Why you say? Y'all Lofa citizens, y'all here in Monrovia. They found Lofa Defense Force. A Lofa Defense Force that never went to Lofa. And I've been Grand Bassa, fighting along with the LPC. Lofa Defense Force. So I still put it, Kroma, whenever those people attack you from a side, we will blame the Taylor was an interesting guy. He said we'll blame the Lofa Defense Force. And that Lofa Defense Force, that Emma Sawyer guy in Monrovia, it will never reach here because we'll never allow it to pass. So when he attacks us and it goes out on the air, they say Lofa Defense Force. But then the Lofa Defense Force here with Massacre, was that his name? Francois, eh? Okay, Francois Massacre never stepped in Lofa County. So, also here in Monrovia, you know, as I told you, it's sometimes good to fight where you hate. In fact, most of the time, it's better to fight where you hate than with guns. I found out through talking to those boys, NPFL boys, commanders on the radio, that Mamadou Salif, my cousin, was one of the top guys with Taylor in Banga. So I said, okay. So I communicated on radio with one of the top guys. I want to talk to your boss man, because I established some trust now, mutual trust. He said, which boss man? I said, I want to talk with Charles Taylor. And I said, what? How will go tell the man you want to talk with him? That means he will discover that we've been talking with you. I said, no. Because at some point, as part of my war strategy, I asked him, one of the commanders, in fact, it was the first commander I communicated with. I said, I want to ask you, how many of your soldiers right now, right next to you, come from Artington? So he said, give me a chance. Few minutes came by, he said, nobody here from Artington. I said, where is Charles Taylor from? He said, Artington. I said, so who the fool? Let me ask you another question. You have one guy that called Mole Sayon. He said, yeah, Mole Sayon is here. I said, that's my brother, because in our African tradition, we don't have cousins. Let me see one Liberian language person and say, you have the word for cousin. In our African tradition, Liberian tradition, we don't have uncles on your pa side, and we don't have auntie on your mom's side. Your father's brothers are your fathers. Your mother's sisters are your mothers. The only place you got uncle is the opposite side. Your mother brother is your uncle. Your father's sister is your auntie. How many of us know these things? So I got my brother there, Mother Sayon. He said, let me find him. They found him. He came. Your mother yawning. Your cook bawning. Your yawning. I said, are you? He said, yeah. He said, who's there? I said, yeah, big brother. I said, your other big brother, Salif, Mamadou Salif. Go and tell him I want to talk to you on the radio. After 3 days, Mama Sali is still living. Maybe he's in Tanzania or in America. He came on the radio. That's the funniest thing now. The man needed chlorides with his pellet. And then he can stutter. So I will communicate on the radio now. He can understand pellet very well, and he's stuttering. So anyway, I told him, I said, look, we have to stop this war. What are you doing with Taylor? And you're shooting. You're shooting your own people, Mamalu. You hear what I explained out to your own little Belema? And he said, damn it. And he said, give me a couple of days. I gave him a frequency. He came back, he said, give me the hour. I will contact you later. He gave me an hour. That hour reached, and Taylor came on. And you know, Taylor was very personable. You will find out how to call your name, how your brother will call your name, how your sister will call you. And he said, Laji, that's how my family call me. Hey, you boy, you made my day. How your voice is? I said, is that who? He said, that's Charlie Ball, Laji. I said, where you know me from to be calling me by that name? I said, you got my brother there doing bad things to us. So in short, we started communicating. Then ECOMA picked it up. They didn't know my intent. I was fighting war. And because people in Monrovia here politically, they felt that I was closer to Abacha, and they didn't like that. They made Jeroy to contact Abacha and say, hey, we are finished. Taylor and Kroma conniving, they're coming to pick up Monrovia. What? No way for the mayor to contact me. So Abacha was convinced that I was conniving and with Taylor. But the interesting thing was that Nyenga used to call me, General, everything, this and that. No problem.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just concerned because, you know, this question and answer period, there are so many commissioners that need answer to.
I know, but you asked me another question and you encouraged me.
Be, you know,
so I was shutting it.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So they can ask me too. Mm-hmm. But if I answer what they had in mind to ask, I don't think it would be necessary to ask the same question. Mm-hmm. All right. So from that strategy, we contacted the commanders in Banga and told them that we wanted to come because we knew that Taylor wouldn't leave. We wanted to come and take over Banga. That was the ultimate military plan. Mm-hmm. For 1 month, we're talking with them, and we're talking with Taylor on the other side. So when we got ready, most of the commanders were positioned in Banga, the MPFL commanders. Mm-hmm. That morning, Taylor called me on the radio. He said, you know, I don't know. I know very well that you don't know about this. But I just want to let you know that your boys have crossed what a bridge between Bong and Lofa. That's simple. To Belefine.
Program The Gospel Caravan. The Gospel Caravan is a non-stop. RAMAH Christian Radio and RAMAH Christian TV proudly presents the program The Gospel Caravan. The Gospel Caravan is a non-stop gospel musical program that brings you the latest gospel music from all around the world. It's time to put on your dancing shoes and dance your worries away. The Gospel Caravan comes on Tuesday and Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join the radio evangelist Jeroy Cummings for the program The Gospel Caravan. Invite your friends, your co-workers, and family members. Get on the dance floor and dance your worries away on the program, The Gospel Caravan. Are you looking for a Christian online radio station that broadcasts programs of news, views, interviews, and documentary? Well, here is good news that you can use. The invitation is yours to follow RAMAH Christian Radio, the light in the darkness. RAMAH Christian Radio broadcasts on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, and YouTube. So, what are you waiting for? Invite a friend and family members and be a part of RAMAH Christian Radio and RAMAH Christian TV broadcast. Is RAMAH Christian Radio, the fountain of beautiful Christian broadcasting network.
Simple River. He said, right to Trouble Farm there. He said, they have crossed, they're on their way. I know you don't know about this. I said, let me check. My whole military checking took only 3 minutes. I came and I said, well, I understand that you attack our forces. He said, no. That is Lofa Defense boys. But you leave it with me. I will catch them, I will shave them. I said, no. I don't think you can do it because they were with you. We ourselves are going to push them. In a matter of 2 hours, we're in Banga. No fighting Banga. I've forgotten the name of that artillery commander. He was the one on the artillery, attached it to a pickup and brought it to Famuyan Sharif. That's how Banga fell. Why am I mentioning Banga? Because of this conspiracy theory that had gone to Abuja. That's why I'm mentioning it here. But a lot of things happen that militarily that I don't have to discuss. But in that fight, we saw the ultimate victory of fighting war by propaganda. Then the burden was on Monrovia now. I understand Abacha called and said, Banga has fallen, but who is there? I can tell you, Ekomok could not tell Abacha that we were in Banga. Instead, the RPC and the Lofa Defense Force that never went to Lofa, they were way in, I think, Basa District number 5. Those people walked day and night, came through Kokoya District in Bon County, and entered Banga. Shocking to us, because as far as we are concerned, Taylor had fled straight to Burkina Faso. He didn't even stop in Ivory Coast because he called the BBC. He called my name, and yet ECOMOG refused to acknowledge that. And somebody asked me the other day, and he asked me today, but give him honor people. The road was clear. Sam Doki called me, Kroma, you going to Nima? I said, hello for what? If you can show me the way to Burkina Faso, maybe I can go, because I'm looking for Taylor. We'll stop right in Palala. I saw something on the internet, some political stunt. One guy's already be confessing, and plenty are here on the internet. Oh, when Ulimo entered Nimba, they took my father, and the Ahaji Kroma ordered his execution. Ulimo ever enter, ever cross Palala to even reach Tokpen? To the St. John River? Never. Never. And let anybody come forward to them and say, Ulimo ever entered Nimba County. We're not looking for tribes. Because we are all the tribes. Statement put out by the Nimba Association. I have a copy here. It said Ulimo was filled up with girls and manners, just like MPFL. So the RPC came to Banga, and we started fighting until MPFL reorganized, remobilized, and came and cleared us out of the place. That's how come you managed to have Charles Taylor here again. Because he was finished that day. So to the best of my knowledge, we never had shooting spree or putting innocent people together. Old man Quigley, Johnny Quigley, the lawman, old man in Vonjama, he was chairman of the commission we set up to bring back refugees from Guinea. Old man Quigley, his nephew, old man David Selma, had a party for me when I went to a lawman man in Washington. Then you had William Bezard, a lawman man. He was my classmate at the University of Liberia. He became the mayor. We appointed him mayor of Vonjama City. When we disarmed, we all came here to Monrovia. And I sent him to Education Ministry as assistant minister. I didn't even know that the position that Jim Fromoyan, what Fromoyan first name? Election Commission. James? He came to me, he said, my man, you put somebody in my position. I said, but you're all from Lofa. Let's stay so we're announcing the man name. That's how you came, people? No.
Thank you. So, in summary, since you are still under oath, am I to understand that you're saying that of all the lists of various massacres that the TRC has on its record now for Lofa, bombing, Cape Mount, Bapaloo, involving over hundreds and thousands of people, that ULIMBO is free of any involvement in these and it was all done by MPFL?
What I want to tell you is that we did not carry out any massacre. What is a massacre? It has to start with the legal unit, the person, the illegal killing of the individual, which is murder. And if there are many murders, then a massacre. We did not murder anybody. As far as I know, murder, illegal killing. You understand? As far as I know, we did not carry on massacres in any part of this country. Because why do we want to carry on massacre?
Thank you.
And Commissioner Coleman, you have not confronted me with any of these things that you're talking about, thousands. I mean, they just make my ears to rise.
That will come later, sir.
Yes.
But I mean, we just want to get you
but it's so strange to me because it's the first time I'm hearing all this time we've been in Monrovia about the ULIMBO massacring thousands of people.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, just out of curiosity, do you acknowledge that there was a massacre in Bakadu where over 200-300 Mandingos people were killed in the mosque? Do you know about that?
The other thing is, I did not tell you that if massacre was not carried out by ULIMBO, it was carried out by MPFL. That was the last part of your question. I do not say that. In Bakadu, I wasn't there. We got reports, and you have the same reports, that people were killed, about 200-300 people, by MPFL soldiers. This report, all of us got, and I wasn't there.
Did you get any reports about things like the Jalama River massacre, 1992, 3 or 4, or this so-called Black Monday? You didn't get any reports on that even? Thank you.
No, excuse me. I didn't get the carry up the microphone to your mouth. I didn't understand.
Just since you did say you got reports, I was just wondering whether you got any reports of other massacres that were taking place. For example, there was one near what is called the Jalama. I may be mispronouncing the word, but some, Zeliba River massacre, where innocent civilians were seeking refugees in Guinea, and as they were going, the forces there, which were
what
considered...
time was this? Can you put some year to it?
Makuna? Oh, okay. Sorry. There was a situation where there was a river between near Liberia and the Guinea border. And we have records that several Liberians were innocently killed. They were refugees that were stopped even from crossing. The UNHCR had to intervene and seek requests from the head of the rebel group to please allow these people to go for refuge.
What year was that?
Well, the exact year, I'm not sure right now. I could give it to you later, but it was around 1993, something around there, 3, 4.
Well, it's very important for the years because different groups were in Lofa at different times. So you have to check that. And when you say record,
yes, today I didn't want to get more specific, but I will provide a total list of all the massacres that were occurred to Yulimbo with the details of soldiers that were involved, the people that were killed, everything will be provided for you later. Thank you.
And when you say record, I have to look at it from a legal point of view because accusations and what people say are just records of what they say. Because when you say record, it looks like independent. The truth of it has been established. So I don't know what is record.
Well, since you said you didn't do any, that means no problem for you right now. But this is Liberia. I want to know. I'm curious about people who said things and accuse us. So I can't just leave it like that. I have to know who is accusing us. Who is it? Because the way you talk, it seems as if though you have accepted it as the truth. When you say we have record, it implies that you have evidence. And what is evidence? Because you're still investigating. As I said, that's why I said at a later date that will be dealt with. Right now, we're just trying to ask you for your side of the story in a sense.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Krumah. Or should I say Ahaji? Because
what did you call me?
I said Mr. Krumah, or should I say Ahaji?
Yeah, no, it's the same.
You know, we've known each other for quite some time. I picked up something in your last statement that I didn't get clearly. I just want to go back. You said you were talking on the radio to a radio operator who was not fluent in Pele, or it was Momolu Salif you said was not fluent in Pele, and he said, and the person stutters and trying to get this person to come?
No, I was trying to get Momolu Salif to get Taylor for me to talk to him on the radio. And I was trying to speak to him Pele. I mean, he could understand me, Momolu Salif. But talking back was a little difficult because he had... I was making a joke. I said he needed to put some Clorox on his Pele. In other words, speak it better. So I was trying to get him to get Taylor so we could talk on the radio. That's what I meant.
So he didn't say that he stutters though?
Yeah, he stutters a little bit, Momolu Salif, yeah.
All right. I don't know that side of him, although I know him very well.
Oh, Momolu Salif?
We grew up together.
Go near him.
Say?
Go closer to him.
Go closer to him, he said? I grew up with him and his siblings.
Are you implying that I don't know him?
I'm not saying that. I say I didn't know that side of him because I grew up with him.
Okay. No, he stutters a little bit. Yeah. Right. His brother right here, Broca, at the agriculture ministry. But that's natural. My brother stutters too.
I know all of them. We grew up together.
Yeah.
Now, if we should go back a bit into history. Yesterday you spoke at length about what you perceived as the root causes of the Liberian civil conflict. So I suppose I will not belabor the issue, but rather to fast forward a little bit to the time you served as a special assistant to the Vice President of Liberia. And this was at a crucial time, and this was around even the time of the rice riots, quote-unquote rice riots, that have been talked about quite at length during the preceding days. I would like to ask you, what are your recollections then, now, of those riots? Who were those ministers in government at the time who were supporting a move to clamp down violently, to use force to suppress the demonstration that was announced? Who were some of those ministers, and who were some of those arguing against it, considering the fact that you were so strategically placed and that you were also married to the sister of the Secretary General of the Truth Party, Clarence Simpson, I suppose there was quite a lot you were able to pick up in such circumstances. So just who would you say were those calling for blood, calling for the clamping down of the demonstration, and those who you may say were doves, say no, this is not an, because Bishop Warner said his position was that the people should demonstrate, and he said this before the TRC in Minnesota. So who were those, can you say, just looking back?
What year was the riot?
1979. Anno Domino.
1979, I was never with Benny Warner. I was appointed not special assistant either. I was appointed press secretary.
Well,
hold on.
I'll take the corrections.
Yeah, hold on. Let me answer your question. You finish? You finish your question?
Yes.
Okay, let me answer. I wasn't with Benny Warner then. I was press secretary in 1978. Actually in 77. I just graduated from the University of Liberia. So it was like 1 or 2 years before the rice crisis. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I'm not married to C.L. Simpson's sister. The third thing is, I'm just correcting your premise.
What is her relationship to Mr. Simpson, Clarence Simpson?
Well, quite frankly, I don't think that is what is under scrutiny here. Okay? But you've said something and I thought that you had done your research.
I was just doing it in context to state that you were strategically placed and there were talks in the corridors. And being married to somebody who was a sister, as you said, not a sister, but a daughter, but she grew up with in the household of the Secretary General at the time of the Truth Party, Mr. Simpson. I suppose that, and being so highly placed in government, I suppose that you were able to pick up a lot of what was going on other than what was being purveyed in the official media.
That's true, because Mike Deshee was Chipote's godfather. You can imagine the man who was sitting there. But anyway, that kind of correlation is useful. As I said, I wasn't strategically placed when I was with Warner to have understood an event that did not happen at the time I was there, unless I had to imagine it and prophesize on it. So I wasn't there. And so that strategic situation does not exist. With respect, since you've introduced family matters, I don't want to make people angry, you know. I saw that you can be married into people's general family and you don't share the same principles. A lot of people are into marriage all over this place here. Neither did I have any access or proximity, or did I want to have it. I can remember, maybe Mr. Simpson doesn't know, I remember when he was appointed Secretary General of the TV.We Party. And I think he was living 20th Street somewhere there. And they were sending out invitations. And the lady you talk about, I wasn't married to her at the time. And I wasn't married to her either when I was with the Vice President. When the coup took place, we had been married only 6 months. So she was only a girlfriend. I don't know where all this marriage and other pieces of information came from. But that invitation came to me. And as far as we were speculating, we thought Jackson Doe was going to be Secretary General of the TV.We Party. So when she brought the invitation to me and said, we're going to Uncle's place to celebrate. There's your invitation. I said, I'm sorry, I have nothing personal against the man. But the principle involved here is that I will not associate with that kind of celebration. And I never went there. Maybe today will be the first day that he has to know, because these are the circumstances we're operating under. You say, say the whole truth, eh? What do you say? Nothing but the truth. So, if I will assume that you're asking the question, what is my assessment and what do I know about those who wanted it, strong reaction against the demonstration? Well, only two persons. I was a reporter at the time, in the news community. The president himself, where he said he was warning these people because now it will be rough, tough, and mean. Those are three words I remember. Then, of course, I think Joseph Chesson, Councillor Chesson, was the Minister of Justice.
That's right.
Okay, he was the Minister of Justice, and Estrada Bernard was the Minister of Labor. Okay, he was the Minister of Labor, and the Minister of Justice said, "Mr. President, go and sleep. We got everything under control." Of course, our reassurance, we were all relaxed. And I think Estrada Bernard, because I think the PPP had called on the working community, the labor force of the country, not to go to work. So Estrada Bernard asked and appealed to everybody to go to work and shouldn't pay heed to this unlawful call. So those are the two people really that were on the radio, the President and the Minister of Justice. I was not in the loop of top officials who were sitting there in their meetings or cabinet meetings to say, oh, we have to do this and do that. The only place we could get a feeling of what was happening was on the radio, the President and the Justice Minister.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, I beg your indulgence. When did you serve in the aftermath of the Rise Riots 79? And which portfolio were you serving at the time? Were you Assistant Minister of Information?
No, it was after that I was appointed Assistant Minister. I was on the, I think, Director of News at EFBC at the time.
Okay. As Assistant Minister of Information, I suppose that you did become aware of the Brownell Commission, which was set up in the aftermath of the what was called the Rise Riots. What would you say were the key findings?
Dikere ma wasa dikere ma wasa money apa wo njowale money apa ka kere ma wasa dikere wo dikere Joe,